Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Community. I have a fan favorite back. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Christina.
Ben doesn't like to think of himself as a fan favorite, but he is a fan favorite. People love to hear from Ben because Ben is, I always say, the brains behind the operation, but he is who does all of our marketing at the Social Snippet, behind a lot of the stuff me and Maria are doing, behind the podcast, behind our LinkedIn growth. So he's a little genius, our best kept secret. So welcome to the show again, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
We've talked about LinkedIn before on the show. It's actually one of the most downloaded episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, like top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
And we did a what you should do if you're getting started on LinkedIn. We'll link that in the show notes from 2025. But one thing we're going to talk about today, and we're going to keep it super tactical, is why your brand needs a LinkedIn newsletter. And why we're talking about that is because we believe LinkedIn newsletters are just such a big hack for growing on LinkedIn, for really connecting with your audience. It's like having a second email list right on LinkedIn, and we all know how important an email list is. And so I brought Ben on because he manages our newsletter. We have over 1,000 subscribers on our LinkedIn newsletter, and so that's going really well. And so, Ben, why don't you give people a little bit of the scoop of what a LinkedIn newsletter is and how it differs from other types of LinkedIn posts?
Yeah, for sure. So, LinkedIn newsletter is... it's a type of LinkedIn post really, because it does show up on the feed. So typically you have like your classic kind of like text post or text and photo post, and those can perform really well on LinkedIn if they're kind of optimized right. And then you have your video posts, and then you have articles, which are kind of like longer form LinkedIn posts. And then this is actually an additional thing, a LinkedIn newsletter, so it's not an article. And the articles just show up in the feed, and they can be kind of clicked and linked to LinkedIn where it shows the longer post. But the LinkedIn newsletter does the same thing where it shows up in a feed as a clickable link, but it actually will also be timed out to the emails of the people who opt into it. Mm-hmm. So it is an opt-in when you have someone connects with you on your personal page or your company page. You can also invite them, or they'll be given or prompted for the option to opt in to your newsletter as well. So honestly, it is actually one of the fastest ways to grow basically what is an email list, but it operates through LinkedIn. So again, on our Social Snippet page on LinkedIn, we do have a LinkedIn newsletter. And when people choose to follow us, they can also opt into our newsletter. And we've seen people start this and get basically an email list of like 200 in a day, because it does just sends out all these push notifications. And it's really like one of the faster ways to grow an email list, but it's based through LinkedIn.
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite features about it actually is that it can send to depending on your notifications, but mine are on. So all the LinkedIn newsletters that I actually subscribe to, I get to my inbox as well. So it's like I'm on their email list, but really it's just I'm looking at a LinkedIn newsletter. So it's like kind of a double whammy there.
Yeah, exactly. So again, like it shows up in feed when you post it, but it's also timed out to the emails of all the people who subscribe to it. And like you're saying, you can't opt in or out of that, but it predominantly does go to the email. So again, we have like our actual newsletter, email newsletter that's Flowdesk based, which we love Flowdesk. That goes out on Mondays, but we also then replicate and some of the same content, optimize it for LinkedIn a little bit, and then we put out the LinkedIn newsletter, and it comes out on Fridays for all of our LinkedIn subscribers. So it's basically like we have two email lists, but they have different kind of hubs.
Yeah.
One's Flowdesk based, and this one is LinkedIn based, and they're actually like fairly different audiences too, which is awesome.
So when you're considering what to put on, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but like when you're considering about what to put on the LinkedIn newsletter versus the email list, because you also do our weekly snippet, which is our email list, our weekly email where we give a bunch of social media news. Guys, if you're not on it, you're going to want to join. But what do you consider to be, really important to be on the LinkedIn newsletter?
Yeah. I think this is something that I've thought about more recently. I think like you can repurpose a lot of the stuff for email versus LinkedIn. I think that's like not a bad place to start, because again, you will capture some of the people that are kind of like waiting on LinkedIn, and they're kind of like in your role, but pretty cold to you relatively. Like you're going to be able to capture some of them anyways, and get them onto your email list via a LinkedIn newsletter rather than your email opt-in. So that's just a case where you can actually do that by not creating any new content, but just repurposing it. But I do think there is a bit of a difference in some things that should be considered. Whereas I think like an email list, I think a lot of people are coming for the links and the updates and like the quick wins. I think there is a little bit more room for like reflective, like thought leadership things on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit less capabilities than like on a great email dedicated platform like Foodesk, where we can do more like graphic based things, like more pictures, more polls, more interactive things. There's a little bit less capabilities on LinkedIn, but I think that gives you the opportunity to make it a little bit more like casual conversation focused, where you can maybe like have updates, but kind of like present them in kind of like a more of like a reflective thought leader type way. So yeah, I think again, like they can be a lot of the same content. If you're not doing the LinkedIn newsletter, but you are doing an email newsletter, my place to start for you would probably just be like, just repurpose it.
Totally.
But then as you go, I think that you'll probably find that there are some things that are a little bit more natural to the LinkedIn newsletter format than to like a traditional email newsletter.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's so great. So, okay, some of the benefits of having a LinkedIn newsletter, which, we've touched on a bit, is that it has higher visibility and open rates, right? So like I even find with an email, you get an email one time, unless you're resending to unopens, which we don't do. You kind of only get that juice from that one squeeze. While LinkedIn, because it's content, could be seen by people more often. And they have better reach and engagement compared to email newsletters. And you have really great analytics that can help you fine tune your content, which, we don't always get with email to see like what people like the most.
Yeah.
And it's free, which is awesome. There's not a lot of free email marketing platforms out there. But this is a great way for you to kind of reach people in a free way.
Yeah, that's almost like the lens of like if you're doing no email marketing, this is actually like probably one of the easiest entry points where you can actually go backwards. Where if a lot of people, I know a lot of you probably are on an email marketing platform and don't ditch that. I think this is an opportunity to build on it and capture more on LinkedIn rather than ditch something. But if you're not on email, this actually could be a really easy way to actually get in inboxes in a way that you are not actually capturing your audience right now. Because LinkedIn kind of is trying to work towards it being kind of an email marketing platform in the sense that they're getting more intentional about the analytics. The opt-in is pretty easy because if someone's willing to follow you on your company page, they're also going to immediately get to your opt-in for the newsletter versus like that's a much more challenging thing to do for an email thing where you, like for us, we have to like capture your attention on an Instagram reel and then take you to our Foodesk opt-in page and then you opt in. And I mean, thankfully we do get a good amount of people doing that, but it is not the easiest way to translate somebody from social to your inbox. And this is actually almost removes one of those steps, right? Yeah. So that does make the opt-ins pretty like familiar. And also like you get to have like it be a LinkedIn notification in your inbox. So there's a bit of an authority piece there that they're familiar with the platform. It takes directly links to back to LinkedIn. So I feel like there's a little bit less hesitation on clicking it, and you're also less likely to end up in spam. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so the criteria for starting a LinkedIn newsletter, one is an active LinkedIn profile or company page where you have either 150 connections or 150 followers. Because it's low-hanging fruit. You can actually just like connect your email list, whether like your Gmail, like your literal Gmail, to your LinkedIn, and it'll pull your contacts. So that's an easy way to kind of get your LinkedIn started and start getting followers for your company page. You can send out a certain amount of invites every month on your company page. Is it 150?
Yeah, I think it's 150.
150. Yeah. 150 of those a month that you can just send out to people, and you can choose those intentionally. Do you want to talk about content creator status?
It's just like basically it helps to increase your chances of gaining access to it. So it's a profile setting that you can set up, and there's really no downside to it. So it just kind of like signals that your profile is active, and if you're posting actively, you might already have this option. But yeah.
Awesome. And then, you must be able to publish long form content on LinkedIn. So if you can do this, you'd be eligible to create a newsletter. And guys, long form content on LinkedIn is so good. We actually were just talking to someone yesterday on a discovery call who was saying they were getting leads and getting a lot of traction on LinkedIn from posting articles, and they were coming up in like LLMs, in like AI. So that's a great way for you to be continuing to post LinkedIn articles.
LinkedIn is actually the number 2 cited domain on AI. Fun fact.
Wow.
It was Reddit and then LinkedIn. So,
Reddit.
So, I mean, I think just because of the amount of detail that people are willing to put into LinkedIn posts, also the way that the profiles are structured with your credentials, your experience, your education, your titles, your company, it's really easy for AI to pull from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're looking to show up more in, all the, I'm trying to think, Claude, why can't I think of this? ChatGPT, all like, the classic LLMs type of thing. This is a great place for you to be adding content to. So yeah,
amazing.
All content is good content on LinkedIn pretty much, but, and it's good to have diverse. And this is kind of like a one more trick to add to your bag. I think this is like a really good thing to supplement, like, if you're already posting like every week something in terms of like it's an article or it's a long form like text post with a picture, and you're kind of already checking in that box by doing like that, like I'd say like 1 to 3 times a week. I think that your next step should be a LinkedIn newsletter, because it's kind of taking that audience to the next level.
Yeah. Love that. Okay, so some practical steps on how to create your LinkedIn newsletter, because for those of you listening, I know lots of people aren't using LinkedIn, so this is such a great way to get started. And again, a reminder, guys, 1% of people who are using LinkedIn are posting, so you still have a huge opportunity to be a thought leader there. One is having your personal profile and go to write an article, then choose create a newsletter. You can do it on your company page, where you go to your page, you find the newsletter section and the admin tools on the left side of the screen. You can follow LinkedIn's prompts. They make it super easy to set up your first newsletter. Choosing a name, maybe a cover image, maybe use your branding, make it look savvy, like it's part of your brand, which it should be. And you want to make sure that your first issue is super high quality, offers value right away. As we're huge on offering value immediately, but you want to give people a reason to come back over and over again. And that will set the tone for all future content. Why don't you give people some ideas for things that they can include in their newsletter?
Again, I think anything reflective in your business. So if there is something that has been like a Q&A or an FAQ kind of question that you've been getting a lot from your audience, I think that's a great spot to actually just like take some time and be like, I'm actually just going to write this out. I'm going to use this the next time someone asks me this, but I'm also going to put it in my newsletter. If there is an industry update, some kind of more viral moment that you're able to capture on, that could be a great thing to include. That also could be some great kind of like truthful clickbait, which is something that I love, where it's like, it's exciting, it's grabby, but it actually is it's actually honest in the fact that you are actually going to attack that question or that topic in your newsletter. So I think like viral moments, just like FAQs, reflections from milestones, company updates. I think just like anything really that's a kind of offering like that warmer next level behind the scenes look into what you're building with your brand, your business, what's happening surrounding your industry. I think that it's all good to be in a LinkedIn newsletter, and I would just test some things out too. Use the LinkedIn analytics, find out what kind of like formats like work well. For us, we know that like generally people love the content we make, and we like to use that as thought leadership content. So we repurpose podcast show notes to have quick takeaways. We talk about our blogs, and we also know that people they don't like to go looking for like social media updates. So we like to like try to like pull those and really lead with value in that sense by having like just like quick wins, things that you can implement, things that you can try, and linking to those things. And those are kind of like our pillars. And I think that, it'll be a little bit different for everybody, but yeah.
Yeah, love that. Okay, so some ways to grow your list once you've got it going. So one is to share your newsletter on your LinkedIn feed, in comments, through direct messages. Guys, you have to talk about things over and over and over again. Yeah. This is something Ben and I are working on all the time, because like sometimes I'll do something and then I'm like, oh, like everyone knows about it. Nobody knows about it. We're just talking about this with our broadcast channel. So you always need to be talking about things kind of over and over again. And so you can promote it on LinkedIn groups, promoting it in your community, just talking about the value that you add. You can also boost posts if that feels good for you. That's not something we've explored a ton on LinkedIn. We do it a bit on Instagram, but that'd be a great way for you to get in front of new audiences as long as your audience was super dialed. And you want to create a bit of a rhythm with your newsletter so you stay top of mind for people. So being super consistent in posting, right? So you don't want to post like one newsletter, then 3 weeks later post another one, and then another one in 5 weeks. You want it to be really consistent because people are depending on you and waiting on you. So you want to, you really want to make sure that you have a lot of consistency there. Any last thoughts about LinkedIn newsletters?
Yeah, I just think that these are just not like, when you're scrolling, these aren't like the most visible things. I think you probably even stumble across some of them and not really realize that they're going to people's inboxes or really what they are. So I think that we just wanted to share this because we feel like it's like one of the most underrated tools on LinkedIn that is going to grow, and it is an opportunity for you to kind of like build a warmer audience without having to put in like the most amount of work, because you already probably have some of this content and you probably already have a page likely on LinkedIn that does qualify for this. So this could be something that you could implement maybe even this week or this month and capture emails kind of in a new way. So
love that. Guys, like Ben said, LinkedIn is such a great platform, and newsletters are something that people are definitely sleeping on. So don't sleep on it. Let us know what resonated. If you're going to try a LinkedIn newsletter, but come subscribe to ours. We will leave a link in the show notes for that. And we'll have Ben on again shortly.